Ever walked into a room, stood perfectly still for a few seconds, and suddenly found yourself in total darkness because your motion sensor decided you left? It is one of those small, daily frustrations that makes smart homes feel more like a chore than a convenience. That is exactly where this little device from GoveeLife tries to change the game. Instead of just looking for a wave of an arm, it uses a combination of wave radar and infrared tech to actually sense if a human is breathing or sitting quietly in a chair. It is surprisingly sensitive. You can be reading a book or just zoning out on the couch, and the sensor keeps the lights on without needing you to jump around like a maniac to trigger it. What is really clever is how it handles false alarms. Most sensors get confused by a ceiling fan spinning or a curtain blowing in the breeze, but this one has a target exclusion feature that seems to filter out those background distractions. It is a huge win for anyone who has ever had their smart home triggered by a curious cat or a swaying houseplant. The hardware itself is pretty unassuming. It is a small, white puck that feels solid enough, and the magnetic base is actually quite handy. You can stick it to a wall or ceiling, and then tilt or rotate it a full 360 degrees to get the perfect angle. It covers a decent amount of ground, too, reaching out to about 26 feet, which is plenty for most living rooms or bedrooms. Now there is a catch. You have to keep this thing plugged in at all times, so you will need to be mindful of where your outlets are. It also relies on a 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi connection, so if your router is acting up, the sensor is going to struggle. And for the power users out there who love tinkering with Home Assistant, you might be a bit disappointed to hear that it does not play nice with that ecosystem. It is strictly for the mainstream crowd using Alexa, Google Home, or IFTTT. Setting up the automation is where it gets interesting, though. You can get really granular with the settings, telling the system exactly how long to wait before turning things off or how close you need to be for it to register your presence. It is not perfect, and the setup process can be a little fiddly if you are not used to the app, but once it is dialed in, it just works. It is a solid, reliable way to make a room feel like it is actually paying attention to you, rather than just guessing. If you are tired of waving your arms at the ceiling just to keep the lights on, this is a pretty smart way to solve that problem.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.